speaking the unspoken, cocky comedy style. If a woman's hitting you, pushing you, or acting fake mad, say, "You love me." Okay, if she questions your comment, right? If she goes, "What? I do not," right? You say, "Look, you just hit me, just like a little girl does on the playground with a boy that she likes. Therefore, you love me." My buddy Craig and I were just down in Venice when we were doing this whole experimenting with some of these tools recently, getting ready for this program and the Meeting Women in Bars and Clubs program. And we did something, I said something to the hostess, and I thought it was kind of interesting. I do this kind of thing a lot, and it's very counterintuitive, so I'm going to explain it. We walked in, the hostess said, "How many?" And I started flirting with her immediately. And then I think we went and got a drink or something, and then she seated us, and she came over. And I was flirting with her the whole time, doing my typical little stuff, like, "How many? 2?" And I go, "Yeah, 2 or 3 if you'd like to join us, and then use your employee discount to buy us dinner for free." And, so we sit down, and, she and I had a really good vibe going, right? And so then at one point, he and I were talking about this, and I actually said, "All right, I'm going to try it. I'm going to say this, and let's see what happens." I said to Craig, I go, "Okay, watch this." And I called her over. I said, "Come here." I made her come to the table, and I looked at her with like a dead serious face. Okay, I had the really I'm concerned about something, like, there might be something wrong with the meal or something. She came over and I said, "When I walked in, I flirted with you and we had that fun little vibe going, but you haven't even come over here to pay attention to me once. I feel very unloved." And it was fascinating because she snapped something back very quickly. She got it and got into it, and then we laughed and had a little laugh from it. I often like to call attention to dynamics that are not said. Okay, so I will say things to women like, "I did this thing, and what I was doing was I was signaling my interest in you, and you haven't even been over here, reciprocating, showing me that you like me. What's the deal?" And it's funny because when you got the vibe, that really goes over well. Right? Because women they don't know guys that know that stuff. They're not in touch with it. It can be funny. Okay, this really requires some self-assurance. You have to really be cocky in order to look at a woman and in a serious way, be like, "I did all these things. I signaled. I sent the message, baby. I'm not getting any love in return." All right, so here are some good cocky comedy themes, okay, to incorporate with your characters. Male and female stereotypes. Okay, male and female stereotypes. If you take gender stereotypes, like the submissive housewife that's standing at the sink doing dishes all day with 47 kids, or the, over masculine guy with the rib stains on his wife beater, in the trailer court. These are great. Neurotic common relationship dysfunctions. Okay, if you pretend like you've got a common relationship dysfunction. So if a woman says something and she busts your balls, you can go, "Why do you always have to make me feel this way?" Just as a little aside here, here's an interesting book I found recently. "It's Okay to Be Neurotic. Using Your Neurosis to Your Advantage," by Frank Bruno. It's okay to be neurotic, using your neurosis to your advantage. This is a coffee table book right here, guys. Serious, just drop this on your coffee table when she's coming over. She will walk straight into your house, walk right over and go, "It's okay to be look at you." And then you can just say, "That book is like my Bible." When I saw that, I felt liberated because I've got every neurosis in that book. And then you just go, "I'm probably going to be beating you within a half hour." Have fun with it, okay? It's good comedy. Or you can pick it up and you can go, she can walk over and grab it and you can say, "I knew you were going to walk right in here and pick that up. That book is about you. Now I understand you. It's incredible. I feel like you are an open book." Common neurotic personality characteristics. Same thing. Exasperation. I'm going to have my friend talk about exasperation later. Just being exasperated with everything she does. Oh, God. Reframing. Okay, this really isn't a theme as much as a technique. Okay, if you want to get some great reframing, this book, Mind Lines, they've got a new cover for it now by Michael Hall. You got to get yourself a copy of Mind Lines. This book will not only teach you to reframe limiting beliefs, but when you do it, you'll start learning to reframe everything, learning to reframe things that she does, learning to reframe things you say and that she says. And then here's another book about the same tools called Sleight of Mouth. Sleight of Mouth by Robert Dilts, D-I-L-T-S. Mind Lines by Michael Hall. Sleight of Mouth by Robert Dilts. Mind Lines, Sleight of Mouth. Go get them. Reframing. Conversational martial arts. Grabbing a word from her and then riffing on it and turning that into the theme of the conversation. You can pick any random word out of a sentence of hers, right? So she might say, you know, it's really interesting. I was watching this, show on the Discovery Channel, and she'll be talking about, birds or something, and she'll go, yeah, but when another bird shows up of the opposite sex, blah, 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 blah. And then you can go, sex? And then boom, you can just go riff on sex. Why are you talking about sex? Speaking of sex, okay, just grabbing a word out of everything that she says and riffing on that word. It's random and it's funny. It's very enjoyable. Someone told me once, I don't remember who it is, so I can't pay attribution. Thank you, whoever you are. They said that a technique that they learn in, I think it was improv, is they take the last word of the sentence of the last person, they just take that word and they just riff on that word. Just extend it. All right, so what's so wrong with normal conversation? What's wrong with normal conversation? What's wrong with it? Normal conversation is characterized by the routine, boring subjects that most people talk about unconsciously all day, every day. The weather, sports, jobs, cars. Some women will get upset with you for avoiding them or being evasive. It will happen, and it's the risk of being different. Okay? If you evade these things, okay, some women will get upset at you. It's all right. It's the price. Gary Halbert, the famous marketing genius, says, and this is my paraphrasing of him, that if you don't piss anyone off, you're not doing a good enough job of communicating your message. Okay, if you've got an opinion and a perspective, and you're real clear about it, you're going to piss some people off. And the clearer you are about it and the better you are at communicating it, the more people you're going to piss off, but also the more people that you're going to connect with. So it's the risk. It's part of the deal. It's the price.